What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Cold Takes from the Land.
Cold Takes from the Land, where you get the coldest takes from the hottest Cleveland sports fans.
And it's time to talk about the Browns again. Yay! Yay! Can you sense my excitement? Yay!
Round of applause, everybody. Yay!
Well, we got the Commanders in Washington this week. And as you guys could tell by our last video, we're not very happy with this team at the moment. So, I don't feel great.
Yeah, I don't either. Coming off of the last 2 weeks where we should have definitely beat the Giants and then beat the Raiders, I don't really know what to expect. Washington's kind of on a heater right now. Jaden Daniels beat the Bengals, and he came out and put up 42 last week again. So I don't really have the best of feelings about this Sunday.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels has been balling. He's looked like the best rookie quarterback in the league so far. He's been killing it. He's been under pressure. He's been on prime time, and he's just been passing all the tests. He looks like a really awesome quarterback of the future for this Washington team that hasn't had one in a pretty long time. So good for them. But in terms of us, go Guards. That's how I feel about the Browns right now. But I guess
yeah, there's a lot to correct. I mean, I don't think anybody thought we were going to have this much to correct coming into the point of the season. This was supposed to be the easy part. And don't get me wrong, we had some comments talking about how we said we're giving up. I don't think we're giving up by any means, but if you come out and lose this game especially, you're not coming back from 1-4. So we said last week is a must-win. This is actually a must-win. So if you're not 2-3 coming out of this week, you're pretty much screwed.
I would say the next 2 games are absolute, or even next 3, because we play Cincinnati in that stretch, are a must-win at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got a team to play. They look like a lot tougher of an opponent than what most would have thought at the beginning of the season. So let's get into it with our 3 keys to victory. I'll go ahead and lead off here. Call me Stephen Kwan. I'm leading off. My first key to victory. Yes, my first key to victory would be, can someone give the Monstar powers back to the offensive line? Would be my first key to victory, because it'd be really fucking nice if we could block a little bit in pass protection. Just because it's been an atrocious year so far. We're not really sure what we're going to see. I'm just going to kind of assume we're going to be trotting out the same lineup as last week, just because we kind of have no clue on Conklin or Jedrick Wills at the moment. But, I mean, hopefully they play. I don't know how much better that'll make it, just because Conklin hasn't played in forever, and Wills did not look good at all when he played. But that's the bottom line. The strongest part of the Commanders' defense is that front 4, headlined by those 2 interior guys, Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne, who are really, really, really good defensive linemen. And then, of course, another guy, Dante Fowler Jr., I'm personally a fan of. He hasn't had the best start to the year. And then they have Dorrance Armstrong coming off the other edge. So, solid front 4. Not as scary as it was before when they had, like, Montez Sweat and Chase Young. But especially with that interior, they can still give you some problems, especially against our offensive line, at least how it's played this year. So, it's got to start with slowing them down.
Yeah, so I was just going to say I can agree with that, but I'm going to pick a different point. I'm going to say the secondary needs to be better. In specific, MJ Emerson, who's been fucking atrocious so far this year, needs to pick it up. With the way they're airing out the ball the last 2 weeks in particular, I think we could struggle quite a bit with our secondary looking the way it has, with Denzel Ward being banged up. He's still been really good, but he's really been the only guy in that secondary making any kind of plays.
Scary
Delta
Terry
really
McLaurin is interesting for a matchup.
Yeah. And Delpit, our guy, hasn't really done a whole lot this season. He hasn't really jumped off the page yet like he was last season in quite a few games. So I'm going to say the secondary needs to hold strong and kind of get back to 2023 form.
Okay, I can agree with that. Definitely have had some struggles recently. I more so think it's like individual players than the whole system in terms of overall coverage, but yeah, you were definitely right. Like, Emerson needs to be better. Definitely Emerson needs to be better. Newsom even needs to be a little bit better of a tackler in open space. And yeah, Delpit hasn't had any crazy splash plays much yet, so hopefully we can see some of that. But I will move on to my second key to victory, and that is going to be help out Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson played about as good of a game as he could last week, given the circumstances. The offensive line was letting him down. The receivers were letting him down. You know, if he can go out there and play that same type of game, you know, Amari Cooper's got to hang on to the ball. Elijah Moore's got to hang on to the ball. Hopefully we get David Njoku back this week. That'll definitely be a big help, and that is kind of an extension of the offensive line argument they got to hold up. The run game has to be a little more efficient. So I don't really have a whole lot to say outside of, you know, if Deshaun can have another one of those games where he's playing well, you got to help him out anywhere you can, and that includes everyone on that offense.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more there. The offense, it just all season hasn't seemed to be on the same page. Last season we kind of struggled too, but thankfully with Flacco we kind of started airing the ball out a bit. I'm going to stay on the offensive side of the ball too and kind of echo some of those sentiments. I think this needs to finally be the week that we surpass that 20-point per game threshold, because thus far we have not scored 20 points a game. So we need to come out. We need to score more than that. It's going to take more than 20, I think, to beat this Commanders team. So if you want to be successful, we're going to have to try to establish some kind of a run game, whether that's Watson breaking off a couple big chunk runs himself, or maybe we can get Foreman going a little bit and see what we can do with Ford out there. But we're going to have to do something, man, because like you said, Amari Cooper's been dropping the ball. Elijah Moore has been kind of non-existent in the offense. He had the one really good catch last week, and I think that was about it, where he was like triple teamed and Watson rifled it in there between like three guys. So get him going. Akins was kind of a non-factor last week, so if he plays, maybe he can get a couple targets, but hopefully Njoku's back. We need to this is pretty much pull out all the stops you can to get a win this week. Right. I don't care if you got to pass the ball freaking 55 times or if you got to run it 35 times. You got to do what you got to do to get a win.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. And that I don't really have a whole lot to add to that because it kind of extends into my final key to victory, which is more so kind of bringing in the coaching aspect of the offense too. Is my last key to victory was just let it rip, man. Like, you're 1-3, it's not been looking good. Go out, you know, be aggressive in the pass game, draw up some creative run designs, you know, bring out all the stops, maybe a trick play or two here and there, you know, let it all go. You know, if there's a weakness in this Washington team, as you get into the back end of their defense, they're definitely susceptible. And I would like to think Amari Cooper, you know, despite his struggles, can still, you know, do his thing along with, you know, Judy, who's been good, and David Njoku coming back, and hopefully this run game can get going a little bit. You know, this is the game where you got to just kind of, you know, Stefanski and Dorsey need to draw up a game plan and just go out there, be aggressive, you know, make it feel like kind of like it was when we threw in Joe Flacco, because obviously, you know, we had a good record when Joe Flacco first made his debut in Cleveland, but there was kind of a sense of dread because you're like, oh man, you know, Deshaun's out for the year, your quarterbacks you have on the roster aren't working, so there was almost a sense of, well, this season might be over. It may be a different feeling than it is right now due to the circumstances, but you kind of have to have that same attitude, just say fuck it and just let it, you know, go out, let it rip, let Deshaun go do what he does, let those receivers go make plays, and, you know, do what you can to get the run game going, get creative, you know, get fun, don't get too cute, but, you know, go out there and just, you know, don't have any restrictions, no conservativeness. We don't need that anymore.
Yeah, I'd like to see that, because with the way the run game has been struggling, I mean, you got almost half to just let it rip. I mean, let him go out there, let him get chunk plays. He needs to be a little bit more, like you said, take a few more risks. He's kind of playing like old Aaron Rodgers right now, where he's not taking many risks. He's getting around like 200 yards a game. Like, kind of remember Rodgers in the playoffs a couple years ago and the freaking ice against San Fran when all the fans were like, dude, throw the fucking ball downfield. You're Aaron Rodgers. It kind of feels like Stefanski, for whatever reason, is just keeping that leash on him, where it's like, dude, let him take a couple shots downfield. Like, he's not going to put the ball in harm's way that much. So give him the opportunity to do that. Because if we can get this pass game going, I think that's really going to be the key to victory until Nick Chubb gets back. But with that, I will get into my third point, which I'm going to say we need to get a motherfucking interception. Finally. It is week 5. We still don't have a single one. Like, this is an absolutely historically bad turnover defense thus far. We have a couple fumbles recovered, but my God, like, how do we... damn near going to be the middle of the season here soon, and we don't have a fucking interception. I mean, get out there. It just seems like the guys aren't in positions to make plays right now, and I don't know why that is. I don't know if that's just a scheme thing. I mean, I'm sure it's a combination of that and guys just haven't been minding their P's and Q's as much this season. But man, like somebody needed to start making some freaking plays out there.
I definitely agree. That comes down to, those guys on the back end. I feel like we've done a good job at times. Obviously, the defense hasn't been quite as good as we want it to be just due to some players, not playing as well. But as an overall scope of things, I feel like, they've been playing. I feel like overall in coverage, it hasn't been bad. They've been able to make some plays, and we've had some near turnovers. But you do have to take that next step. Take advantage of those opportunities to get those interceptions. I think Denzel Ward himself has like 3 dropped interceptions this year. So let's try to make sure we're hanging on to that, getting aggressive. Breaking on the ball when it's in the air. That's definitely a big thing. And if you're gonna force a quarterback to make a mistake, despite how good he's been, Jaden Daniels will still make rookie quarterback mistakes. Every rookie quarterback does it. So if there's a type of player that you're going to force to make some mistakes, it's a rookie quarterback. So yeah, I definitely agree that this is the game. Let's go get a turnover or 2 through the air.
Yeah, we need to, man. I mean, with the way we're playing on offense, we really need the defense to like overcompensate for how bad we are. I mean, our offensive line's bottom 5 in the league. It might be bottom 3. So the way we've been playing out there, we got to go out there. We got to get an interception. We got to try to keep forcing fumbles. And I'm just hoping this kind of ends up being a game like Justin Fields' first game in Cleveland when he was a Chicago Bear, where we just absolutely wreak havoc and Miles has like 4 sacks.
Hopefully. That would be nice. That would definitely be nice. I don't know if I'm going to predict that necessarily, but yeah, I don't really have a whole lot else to add in terms of specific keys or anything. So I'm ready to get my prediction out there if you're up for it, sir.
Let's hear it.
All right. Well, I love my Browns. It's been a struggle so far this year. I have some faith and some optimism that we're going to be able to turn it around. It's still early, but unfortunately, just with the circumstances with the offensive line, I do expect another struggle bus of a week in pass blocking. I do feel like that duo of John Allen and Daron Payne are really going to cause some problems. And even though you would think the interior of our line is the strong point, I kind of feel like they might start to break down that interior of the offensive line there. So I do think it's going to be a struggle offensively. I think we are going to be conservative most of the time because we're just not going to be able to get the protection we need to make plays out there. I think we'll see flashes of it. I do think we'll get an interception this week. It's just a hunch. And I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be competitive. I think we'll fight, but overall, I don't trust the offense to do enough in the way it's constructed right now, and I don't know if the defense can carry them against an electric young quarterback like Jaden Daniels long enough to be able to withhold. So with that, I'm going to say the Browns unfortunately lose this one by a score of 23-14.
Okay. Interesting. Very close to my score. I think it's going to be pretty much the exact kind of game you just said, where it's going to be very tight. I think we'll fight for a lot of it. I think it's going to be scrappy. At the end of the day, though, I do think our 2 tackles are going to absolutely be our downfall once again. I mean, we have Hudson out there who shouldn't even be on an NFL roster, and DeJuan Jones has been absolute booty cheeks this season. So I think they're going to continue to struggle. I think our run game, I'm assuming Jerome Ford is going to get the start again. I think he'll have under 40 yards rushing once again. I don't think we're going to be able to get anything going on the ground. I think Cooper might have a touchdown. I think Judy might get one as well. And I'm going to say we also get an interception. Like you were saying, I think it's finally the week 2. But I think at the end of the day, we're going to fall to the Commanders. Final score, we're going to lose 24-17.
It's a sad, depressing day here in football land.
Yeah, man. I was kind of wondering this last year, too, because you kind of saw glimpses of it with, and I don't think he's a bum by any means because he was great last year, but just the way Jim Schwartz manages and calls his defense, like, there was definitely moments where, like, they would blow the lid off the defense last year, and you're like, okay, you'd see, like, glimpses of this, but it's like, I almost wonder if the league figured him out,
I mean, it's possible. I think the defense has still been good. I just think they've given up more chunks.
It doesn't
and
even look
have
like
had
the
some
same
holes.
defense really as last year. They just aren't. They're not. I mean, last year we weren't a big turnover team either, but they're really not forcing turnovers this year. And
Yeah, the
like we were saying
turnovers is
last week,
definitely an
Myles
issue.
Garrett's the guy getting pressure. He had another 2 sacks, but it's like when you have guys that you're paying to be big difference makers off the edge, and especially our defensive tackles. Like Smith has been fine, but our freaking defensive tackles have been so bad. And we just
Yeah.
lost Alex Wright for the season, which he was probably our second best edge rusher through the first 4 weeks.
Yeah, he was playing well.
So, yeah, that ain't good. Plus, Michael Hall's out, I think, this week, and then I think he can return the week after that. But who knows
next
as far
week
as, like, I don't
we'll
even know if
see.
he's been able to practice and shit, so I don't know if he's going to be starting or not.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. The interior D-line definitely has been disappointing. Dalvin and Shelby and them have been very disappointing. So hopefully, maybe Michael Hall can come in and make a difference. I don't know. But, yeah, both of us predicting
Maybe,
a
man.
loss this week. Hopefully this is the week we're both wrong. So we'll see how it goes, man. I don't have anything else to toss in here. Do you have anything else to say?
No, I'm just kind of, well, I say no and then I start fucking talking. So yes, I do have something to say. I think this is kind of one of those ones where it's like you don't want to be too negative, but it's like I think we can win this game, obviously, but it's like we really need to like show something, man. I mean, it feels like the team hasn't had any kind of fight this year. I mean, I don't know why. Like the coaching doesn't seem to be on the same page as all of our players have been. Clearly, guys are frustrated out there. Amari Cooper in the Week 1 matchup was kind of rolling his eyes in the huddle, and it's like we just need to get something going. Whether it's like if you can come out, get a win here, take on a struggling Philly team, if we can somehow climb back to 3-3, I mean, we just need to get back into this to where when we get Chubb back, it's not for naught, you know? Like, I don't want to be freaking 2-6 when Chubb returns, because, I mean, what's the point of having him back at that point, you know?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. This is definitely make or break time. And Kevin Stefanski does have a track record of when his back against the wall, he does seem to do pretty good in those situations. So, but
Yeah.
all I know
Watson's
is
2-0 as a Brown against the Commanders.
that is true. All I know is if we have another struggle bus of a Sunday and it's anything like the Raiders game, we're gonna hear a lot of this. And I'm gonna be.
Well, that's the one shining light I think we have. If Watson can come out and play well again, I think that'll be, and we win especially, that'll be a really good sign, because that'll be the first time I think in his Browns tenure where if he comes out after the game, even though we lost last week, has a really good game and he brings us to victory this week, I think that's a pretty big bright spot there to be like, okay, like maybe this guy still has quite a bit left in the tank.
Yeah, that is true. And we'll definitely have to see on that one, but I think that's everything we have to say. That's pretty much our thoughts this week. Definitely a little more gloomy than normal. Hopefully the team can prove us wrong. But to add on top of that, after we get done here, I'm probably gonna watch this Tampa Bay game and watch the quarterback I wish we still had go out there and ball. So, we appreciate you guys for listening. We'll definitely see how the game goes this Sunday. It's a winnable game, but just one I'm not very optimistic about, and clearly neither are you, sir. So we'll see how it goes.
No.
Hopefully we can make some plays maybe and get the win, and we'll feel a little better come Sunday evening. But once again, we appreciate you guys for listening. We appreciated all the views we got on the previous video. And hopefully we get a win. We'll have this video up as well as a Guardians playoff preview. Whoop, whoop. That'll be a little more fun. And we'll see. Woo! We'll see you guys in the next one.
Goal takes from the